Welcome back to our Hatters Walk. Luton go out of the FA Cup to Fleetwood, and it wouldn't matter anybody got Port Vale in the next round, and who wants Port Vale? Anyway, welcome back to our Hatters Walk. Crypto Hatter says, now we can concentrate on winning the league. I love Luton Town fans' humour. Absolutely brilliant. Hope you're doing well this week. We've got Lewis and Kevin with us. Mark is abroad this week, so he's missed out on rainy Fleetwood. But yeah, give us your thoughts on whether or not it's a blessing or not. Coming up this week, then, we're going to review what we learnt from that Fleetwood trip. 636 of you travelled there. Credit to you if you can see yourself in that photograph there. Plus, we'll talk about what's our favourite injury time winner that the Hatters have scored. We're going to get Lewis and Kevin and put them on the spot there. What's the one that's made you jump up out of your seat more than anything else? We're also talking about the World Cup draw. Will we see any Luton's Town stars feature next summer? Current players or ex, where we like to hear Luton in the commentary for those games. And we're up to the letter very difficult one this week. Mark stuck out of this one. The letter I. Can you name a Luton Town player that deserves to go in the history books in our famous A to Z, which we've been doing, that starts with the letter I? You can see their pained expressions already, so do help us out. We are live, of course, this week as well, because there's a game tomorrow. So, Kevin, what did we learn from Fleetwood, if anything?
I think the one thing that we've learned, not only at Fleetwood, but the weeks before, is that we go one step forward, two steps back. Every time we think we're making some progress, we lose, like a 5-0 now to League Two team. So every time it looks like we're getting confidence, every time it looks like we're going somewhere, we're getting some consistency, it all gets taken away and we start at square one. However, I must say this, Mark, we keep having this discussion, but we come back the next week, we're positive, and the team has made it right. So they are showing quite a lot of backbone. But once again this week, there in the wet, cold of Fleetwood, we went a step or two back with the defence.
Yeah, okay. LTFC Harry says, tactical loss that. Now we're not going to lose a league game for the rest of the season. Mm-hmm. Some fans have called it a blessing, Lewis. Where do you stand on that debate?
Yeah.
Less games, we can focus on what's important. Nah, not having it?
Nah. For me, losing a game of football is never a blessing. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. You can't find... I just don't see where that type of mentality comes into play. You know, a cup run might be the highlight of our season. There's no guarantee the league's going to bring us success, as proven so far. We've been far too inconsistent, and that might continue. I think there's plenty of work that needs to be done in terms of the league performances, and it might not be done this year. So for me to lose against a lower league opposition when I've already witnessed these group of players be very fragile mentally and have low confidence, I can't imagine confidence and having the right mentality for this game against Luton or in tomorrow. It's going to be right up there. So yeah, I don't see this as a blessing. The squad, we've got the biggest budget in the league and one of the biggest squads in the league. We can handle like the game load. We're still in another cup competition, which I've got more hopes for because we like to perform in that cup competition for some weird reason and not the other ones. But yeah, for me, never a blessing to lose a game of football.
Yeah, was there a consensus amongst fans that, I don't know, there didn't seem to be much fallout on social media, Lewis, at all. There wasn't a big outcry. There wasn't a big kind of the players are rubbish or anything like that. I mean, the travelling fans even kind of said, well, all right, so what, bigger priorities this season? Yeah, is that just an apathy towards the cup or just kind of a recognition of where we are as Luton at this moment in time?
It could be multiple things. I think the FA Cup, I think lots of people now don't respect it like they used to because the big teams don't respect it, when they play their reserves. So I think it's lost its magic. So there's a bit of that. There's also a bit of actually, the league is more important. I think, yes, realistically, the league is more important. We do want to win promotion and get back to the championship. But I think ultimately, the fans have got really fed up of losing it and it's kind of become a new normal. If I was a fan that went to Fleetwood and spent my money around Christmas time, did the round trip, and I saw fans say, it's a blessing that we got knocked out, I would be really annoyed because I've just wasted all that effort and time to hopefully try and see my team get to the third round of the competition. yes, I know Fleetwood got Port Vale, but you don't know in the draw. We could have got a great trip to a Premier League side. Yes, I know we were there, but you don't know what could happen. In FA Cup, we might have got an easy one, and we could have progressed. You don't know how far you can go in these competitions. So yeah, I think it's a mix of like load of things.
Okay. Thank you for this. Burley says it's a blessing as it's a new team. I'm not totally gelled yet. Still work to do. Cheers for that. Cheers for that comment. Kevin Yates. Someone saying he ducked out of taking a penalty at the end there. What's your thoughts on that? As obviously someone whose job it is to put the ball in the back of the net and not taking a penalty.
We've spoken about it over the last couple of weeks. On the positive side, he scored a real excellent goal. The first goal for Luton was a brilliant setup for him, and he put it in. It is quite strange. Your number one striker, someone like you say, who's supposed to put the ball in the back of the net, who doesn't want to take a penalty. Most strikers, most forwards want that ball. They want to be the heroes. They want to show it. But once again, it goes down to he's obviously lacking a lot of confidence. He didn't want to be put in that position. He believed the other guys could do it. And once again, they failed. And now he's probably a bit embarrassed at this point not to do it. But it's a bit sad. But it's a confidence thing. And he's got the rest of the season to try and pull it back. But he should be putting himself in that position, I believe. He was the big signing. He came with a big hoo-ha. He should be taking that responsibility at the end of the day. It is disappointing he didn't take it.
This one from Dale. Cheers, Dale. Agrees with you, Lewis. Poor attitude to be happy, lose, or get knocked out of the cup. Winning breeds confidence. Our players need minutes, like Adebayo. Absolutely crazy. Cheers for that. Cheers for that, Dale. Lewis, the missed penalties there were from Jacob Brown and Liam Walsh. Yeah. They just need a collective arm around them. Those lads there, because it's all right missing a penalty. One of those players, like we've just discussed, who didn't take one. No ill feeling towards either of those.
No, I thought it was actually good saves from the keeper. I think the Browns one in particular I think it was going like side netting. So I think it was just I think sometimes with penalty saves, people don't credit the keeper, especially in this type of format. Like the Fleetwood keeper would not have much to go off in terms of where the players are going to go, because these are not regular like penalty takers. It's not like the Premier League and like big time international level where there's plenty of data and all that. I would have thought at lower league level, there's hardly any of that. And I think you should just credit the keeper when it is a good save. I think Brown one was definitely a really good save. I think Walsh one was perfect height for the keeper. I think Walsh could have done a bit better there. But look, it should have never gone to penalties. We're League One side, the squad that was capable, that started, and the players that came on, it should have never have even got to that stage. The squad, the quality is all there. So yeah, I guess we've got no choice to move on.
Yeah, and move on. We shall on to Leyton Orient and Port Vale then, Kevin. Especially against Port Vale, this is. Sorry, you want to repeat about that? This should be a 4-point week at least.
Well, it should be, but like I said, just when we have hope, it gets taken away. But on that same note, Orient had a worse outing than us this week. They lost 4-0 in the FA Cup. So their confidence is also a little bit battered, losing to Salford. So we're not the only ones. They were also in that same lineup. But I would hope for 4 to 6 points over the next 2 games. We 1 point away from playoffs, 7th in the league with 61% of the fixtures left. Still a long, long way to go. But we do need to build this confidence. And like we spoke last week, this is the period where we're playing the lesser teams that are not in the top 5 or 6, and it is a good chance to gain some points.
Yeah. I was just running through them. Bradford, we spoke to our Plymouth fans earlier. They said Bradford are absolutely awful. I know they've won, but Stevenage are inconsistent. Lincoln are inconsistent. Stockport are wobbling at the moment. Bolton have stopped winning and starting drawing. So it's only Cardiff, Lewis, who are showing any kind of form at this moment in time. If you could just now put a run of 3 games together, you put yourself back in that mix, yeah?
It's an awful league. It's considering we're just outside the playoffs and we've been average at best. It just shows you that the league is not good at all. There's a lack of quality. There's a lack of teams building consistent run of form. And if we can actually start being consistent, that's all you got to do. It's just be consistent. You can be in the top 2. It's proven on how bad the league's been this year. But yeah, it's a terrible league, and I think that's what's the really frustrating thing, that why we're so annoyed, because if we just build some consistency, you're there. Whereas we're struggling to do that, which I find mind blowing at times.
Join us next week then as we review both of those games. And we've been thinking about injury time winners. Now, some of you might put this in your I category later on, so we can double up. That's absolutely fine. Kevin, what is your favourite 90th minute winner you've ever seen your team score?
It was just when I started supporting Luton Town, 1988, Brian Steen, fellow South African, 90th minute, 1988 League Cup final against Arsenal. I don't think there will ever be a better injury time 90th minute winner. There's a couple of other games as well, but I don't think anything will top that. I'll leave the other 2 or 3 for Lewis. I'm sure he'll want to talk about those as well.
Okay. Right, Lewis, ones that you were there for or not, what sticks in your memory?
I'll do the ones in my lifetime, which I actually got to witness. So the one that I still can't believe that happened was when it was away to Wycombe, where we won promotion that season. We're 1-0 down in the 90th minute. Scott Cuthbert, I think, scored the equaliser, and then literally 5 minutes later, we scored the winner. So to get 2 goals in injury time, it doesn't happen often. So to do that and be there in the away end, be the away side, that's definite. But I've got a better one, and which I'm going to save for later on.
Okay. Brilliant. Thank you for all your support, by the way, people watching on the channel. We're growing this really nice community. It's great to have so many comments and nice comments as well. If you haven't yet subbed, please do so. It'd be absolutely amazing to get closer to the 500 mark. Kevin, the World Cup draw was done in between when I last chatted with you last week. A bit of a farce, the whole the whole thing. It's got us thinking about where will we hear Luton Town in the commentary next summer. When we always sit and listen and the commentators mention our team, we always get a little bit of a buzz. Ex-players, current players, who do you think is going to shine?
Well, first of all, Mark, you're correct. At least the draw was finished by tonight, that we couldn't actually talk about this. It was an extremely long draw. In terms of current players, it's unlikely that Luton will have anyone at the World Cup unless Scotland obviously choose Brown, but it doesn't look like it. And possibly Northern Ireland beat Italy away and then beat probably Wales. And then we'll have Seville there. But that's extremely unlikely. Nakamba, ironically, was in South Africa when Zimbabwe lost to South Africa, so they didn't qualify, unfortunately. Players that should have been from last year and the year before was obviously Amari Bell, if Jamaica do qualify, Ashioka from Japan, who's got a good pool there, and Kaminsky, if they actually do pick him for Belgium. But unfortunately, it looks like no one from Luton Town will be in America, Mexico, or Canada next year.
Amazing. Lewis?
Yeah, I for me, international, I don't care until the World Cup starts, if I'm being honest with you. And we probably won't get a mention unless Ross Barkley or Dewsbury Hall gets called up for England, but I can't see it. Well, Dewsbury Hall might, I don't know. If he carries on playing the way he does, we might get a sneaky little little one-liner. But apart from that, I don't know.
Okay. We've had this in from Daz Fit Studio. Thank you, Daz. He says, I went over from Belgium and went to the match. Unfortunately, the football ruined a good weekend. My God. Respect to TMLW and GS. Thanks for clarifying. It's not Gary Sweet there. Let's hope we can push on in the league. Yeah, main priority and VT. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my goodness, fancy coming over from Belgium to Fleetwood and watching that. Wow, that is Yeah, you get the Fan of the Week award there, Daz. Thanks for showing that. Definitely. If you haven't been watching, we've been doing the A to Z of Luton in the last couple of weeks. We're up to the letter I this week, which is, of course, the most tricky letter, which I think is why Mark's gone abroad, isn't it? So he didn't have to answer this one. What have you got, Lewis? Anything?
I've got I've got an injury time equaliser. So when we were in non-league against Cambridge, Mark Cullen scoring in the 90th minute, it was first v second, and I think when we got that equaliser, it continued the unbeaten run. But I think it pretty much gave everyone the confidence to go on to win the league that season. And then I think 2 weeks later, we played Dartford away. We're 1-0 down and we scored 2 goals late on. Pelly Ruddock scored the first one, and then Andre Gray scored the winner in injury time. So, yeah, those 2 games, which there's 2 of my favourite away days ever. So I think they have to take the ice spot for me, not the players that represented the football club, because they haven't done anything.
Injury time equalisers. Brilliant. Kevin?
I'll give 2 names. I'm sure they won't make the top of the list, but let's give it. Harry Eisted. Obviously, he was here quite a bit before moving on to Charlton, now at Forest Green. He also had quite a great performance in the FA Cup match against Chelsea, but unlucky not to get more games, unfortunately. I don't know if we want to mention the second one of Tom Inch. We'll go over him quickly. And then I'll give a third one, injury time, one that we haven't mentioned yet, which I think is quite iconic over the last couple of years, is 2022 injury time winner, 97th minute by Kane Naismith against Bournemouth, 97th minute. And that really started getting the passion going, and once again the confidence going to try and get into the knockouts. I don't think many people will forget that 97th minute winner from Naismith.
Brilliant. Great stuff. Right, appreciate that. Then next week it gets a little bit easier because we're on to J then. So yeah, I'm sure there's a few more that you can already think of for J. It gets a little bit easier now till we get to Q in about a couple of months' time. All right. Right. Thank you very much, Lewis. Thank you very much, Kevin. Enjoy your trip to Leyton Orient tomorrow night. Yeah, are you heading to that one, Lewis? Are you doing that one?
I am indeed. Hopefully celebrating 3 points.
Okay, fingers crossed for that one. Cheers, Kevin. Thank you as well. Oh, hold on, Dale's put one in. Put another one in. Loire versus Walsall away. There we are. There's another shout. Yeah, good. Cheers, Dale. Nice one. Right, thank you all very much for watching, and we'll catch you all in 7 days' time. Have a fantastic week out there.